The Polaroid slipped from Benjamin's trembling fingers, fluttering to the cracked linoleum like a dying butterfly. It landed face up, capturing that frozen Thanksgiving smile. His parents, his sister Eliza, all beaming around a table laden with turkey and lies. But no space for him, no trace of the boy who'd carved the turkey that year. "You're not family anymore," his father's voice echoed in the empty kitchen, the words sharper than the knife he'd used to gut the bird. And Benjamin wondered if this was how Judas felt, the betrayal tasting like salt and regret on his tongue. He'd come back to Willow Creek, Ohio, after 3 years in New York, chasing ghosts in the house he'd grown up in. The air still smelled of cornfields and unspoken sins, the kind that festered in small-town churches where the pastor preached love but meant conformity. Benjamin, 28 now, with ink-black hair that fell like a curtain over his hazel eyes and a jawline etched by too many nights questioning his worth, had driven the 12 hours straight from the city. His beat-up Ford Focus, license plate still reading NYC 4 EVR, coughed to a stop in the driveway at dawn, the engine's rattle mirroring the ache in his chest. The house was a relic of the 70s, siding peeling like old skin, the front porch sagging under the weight of potted mums his mother insisted on, even in November chill. He'd let himself in with the spare key hidden under the mat. Ironic, that trust hadn't died yet, and padded straight to the kitchen, drawn by muscle memory to the coffee pot. But instead of grounds, he found the shoebox, tucked behind the ancient Cuisinart, labeled Memories Fragile in his mother's looping script. He shouldn't have opened it. But curiosity, that old devil, whispered promises of closure. Inside were the photos, hundreds of them, stacked like accusations. Birthdays, Christmases, graduations, every milestone meticulously documented. Yet in each frame where Benjamin should have stood, there was a void. Airbrushed out, literally in some cases. Eliza's high school prom pic had a ghostly halo where his arm had looped around her waist. His coming out at 17, the blowout fight that shattered the living room vase, had been edited into oblivion. No trace of the tears, the slammed doors, the way his father had hissed, "This isn't us, Ben. This isn't America, just perfect, nuclear family facades, the kind plastered on church bulletins and Facebook feeds back home." Benjamin sank to the floor, back against the cabinets, the linoleum cold seeping through his jeans. His phone buzzed in his pocket, New York area code. Jacob. He ignored it, thumbing through the stack instead. There, buried at the bottom, was the one they hadn't burned. Him and Jacob, arms slung casual over shoulders at last summer's Pride Parade, rainbow flags whipping in the wind off the Hudson. Jacob's grin, wide and unapologetic, freckles dancing across his nose like stars. Benjamin's own smile, tentative but real, the first in years. They'd snapped it on a disposable camera, a relic in the smartphone age, because Jacob said it felt more honest, less filtered. That photo wasn't hidden. It was the intruder, the truth they couldn't erase. Benjamin's breath hitched as he traced the edge, remembering the heat of Jacob's hand on his back that day, the crowd's roar drowning out the doubts. Jacob Hayes, 29, with sun-kissed skin from weekends coaching Little League in Brooklyn and eyes like aged whiskey, warm, with a burn that lingered. They'd met at a dive bar in the village, Benjamin nursing a whiskey sour after a brutal audition callback, Jacob sketching strangers on a napkin, his laugh cutting through the jukebox's twang like sunlight through smog. "You're drawing me?" Benjamin had slurred, leaning over the scarred oak bar, close enough to smell the charcoal on Jacob's fingers. "Only if you'll let me," Jacob replied, his voice low, laced with that Midwestern drawl he'd never shaken from his Indiana roots. "You look like you could use a portrait that sees you." 3 months later, they were inseparable lazy Sundays in Jacob's cramped walk-up, cooking pasta from scratch while arguing over Springsteen versus Dylan, nights tangled in sheets that smelled of them. Jacob had been the one to push for the road trip home. "Face the dragons. Then I'll be your shield." But Benjamin chickened out, left him at Penn Station with a kiss that tasted like goodbye. Family first, he'd lied to himself. Now, staring at the shoebox, he knew better. The front door creaked open, heavy footsteps thudding like judgment. "Ben, that you?" His mother's voice, thin as the photos, laced with surprise and something sharper, wariness. He shoved the box back, photos scattering like confetti from a broken dream. "Yeah, Ma. Just grabbing coffee." She appeared in the doorway, apron dusted with flour, gray streaks threading her auburn hair like fault lines. Margaret Harlan, 55, the woman who'd baked pies for the county fair and whispered prayers for her son's confusion to the quilt circle. Her eyes, the same hazel as his, flicked to the floor, then away. "Didn't expect you till Christmas. Your father's at the mill. Eliza's in Cincinnati with the kids, the grandkids, the ones he'd never met, because we don't want that influence around them." Benjamin forced a smile, the kind that didn't reach his eyes. "Surprise visit. Thought I'd fix that leaky faucet you mentioned." She nodded, too quick, busying herself with the kettle. Silence stretched, thick as the fog rolling off the creek outside. Finally, she spoke, voice cracking like thin ice. "We miss you, Ben. But things, they're better this way. Cleaner, cleaner." The word exploded from him, raw and ragged. He stood, towering over her slight frame, the shoebox's shadow looming between them. "You mean erased? Like I never existed?" Her hands stilled on the counter, knuckles white. "It wasn't like that. We just protected what we have." Protected. The word hung there, a guillotine blade. Benjamin laughed, bitter and hollow, echoing off the yellowed wallpaper. He grabbed his keys, the Polaroid crumpled in his fist. "Tell Dad I said hi. And that I'm done being invisible." He stormed out, the screen door slamming like a gunshot. The Ford roared to life, gravel spitting under tires as he peeled down the lane, heart pounding a war drum. Willow Creek blurred in the rearview, barns like skeletons, silos piercing the sky, but the photos burned in his mind, fuel for a fire he'd long suppressed. 2 hours into the drive, his phone lit up again. Jacob's face, that damn grin from the lock screen. Benjamin pulled over at a rest stop, the Ohio Turnpike humming with semis, and answered on the third ring. "Babe, you okay? You sound like hell." Jacob's voice wrapped around him like a blanket, soft and steady. Benjamin choked on a sob, the dam breaking. "They did it again. Jake. Erased me. Every fucking picture." A pause. Then Jacob's intake of breath, sharp as a knife. "I'm coming to get you. Stay put." "No." "Yes. We're ending this. Together." The line went dead, but the promise lingered. Benjamin leaned against the car, the crumpled Polaroid in his palm, staring at the horizon where flatlands met endless blue. For the first time in years, the void inside him felt a little less empty. But as the sun climbed, casting long shadows over the highway, he wondered if some albums could never be rewritten. The rest stop diner was a greasy spoon straight out of a Springsteen song. Checkered floors sticky with syrup, air thick with bacon and regret. Benjamin slid into a booth, ordering black coffee that tasted like asphalt, his mind replaying the morning's wreckage. The waitress, a peroxide blonde with tattoos snaking up her arms, eyed him sympathetically. "Rough night, Han. Rough life," he muttered, stirring sugar he didn't want. She chuckled, low and knowing. "Ain't that the truth? You from around here. Used to be." Willow Creek, her eyes lit. "Small world. My cousin's the sheriff there. Harlan, right? Your folks." He nodded, throat tight. Small towns, where sins traveled faster than secrets. By noon, the coffee had gone cold, and so had his resolve. He texted Jacob, "On my way back. Don't come." But Jacob, stubborn as a mule, replied instantly, "Too late. Booked a train. Be in Cleveland by 6. Benjamin groaned, head thunking against the formica. Jacob Hayes, the golden boy who'd left his own Bible Belt family for art school in Chicago, then New York for love. They'd bonded over shared scars, Jacob's coming out at 16, disowned by a father who preached fire and brimstone from the pulpit. "I chose me," Jacob always said, sketching Benjamin's profile in the quiet hours, charcoal smudging his fingers like war paint. "And now I choose us." The drive east blurred into monotony. Interstates flanked by billboards for Jesus Saves and truck stops promising hot showers. Benjamin's radio crackled with country crooners singing of lost loves and dirt roads, each lyric a needle in his skin. He thought of Eliza, his little sister, 8 years his junior, the one who'd hugged him tight after the blow-up, whispering, "I love you." Then, always, but then silence. Years of it, punctuated by Christmas cards with family portraits where his spot was a blank wall. Dusk painted the sky bruised purple as he crossed into Pennsylvania, the Appalachians rising like jagged teeth. His phone pinged, another text from Jacob, thinking of that night on the roof. "You, me, city lights. Hold on to that." Benjamin smiled despite himself, the memory flooding back. Their third date, summer heat wave turning the air to soup. They'd climbed the fire escape of Jacob's building, bottles of cheap Merlot in hand. Lying on a threadbare blanket, Manhattan sprawling below like a glittering promise, Jacob had turned to him. "I serious. What if we're enough? Just us against the world." They kissed then, slow and deep, the kind that rewrote stars. Fireworks popped over the East River, 4th of July latecomers, and Benjamin had felt, for the first time, like he belonged. But belonging was a fragile thing, as the shoebox proved. By midnight, he was crashing at a motel off I-80, the neon vacancy sign buzzing like a migraine. Sleep came fitful, dreams of faceless crowds at family reunions, him waving from the edges, invisible until he screamed. Morning brought rain, sheets of it sluicing the windshield as he pushed toward New York. Jacob's train would beat him there. He'd be waiting at Grand Central, sketchpad in hand, that unwavering smile. Benjamin accelerated, wipers slapping rhythm like a heartbeat. The photos were in his glove box now, the real ones, their ones. A plan flickered, half-formed. Upload them, all of it, to the world. Let the truth bleed out. But truth had teeth, and families bit back. Grand Central's vaulted ceiling arched like a cathedral of steel and stars, constellations painted in ochre and gold whispering secrets to the hurried throng below. Benjamin emerged from the subway, soaked from the downpour, his duffel slung over one shoulder like a shield. The clock tower struck noon, its chimes lost in the echo of footsteps and announcements, but he spotted Jacob instantly, leaning against a pillar, sketchpad tucked under arm, scanning the crowd with those whiskey eyes. Their gaze locked, and the station blurred, the world narrowing to the space between them. Jacob pushed off, closing the gap in 3 strides, pulling Benjamin into a hug that crushed the air from his lungs. "God, I missed you," Jacob murmured into his hair, voice muffled by wet wool. "You scared the shit out of me." Benjamin clung tighter, inhaling the familiar scent of graphite and sandalwood soap, the rain on their skin mingling like tears. "I'm sorry. It hit me hard." Jacob pulled back, hands framing Benjamin's face, thumbs brushing away droplets, or were they something else? "Talk to me." "On the way home." "Home." The word landed soft. A bomb. They wove through the concourse. Jacob's arm looped possessive around Benjamin's waist, drawing stares from the buttoned-up suits and wide-eyed tourists. Outside, the rain had eased to a drizzle, cabs splashing yellow arcs through puddles. Jacob hailed one, barking "Brooklyn" to the driver, then settled beside Benjamin in the back, their thighs pressed warm. The cab lurched into traffic, horns blaring a symphony of impatience. Benjamin unpacked the shoebox in his lap, photos spilling like confessions. Jacob's brow furrowed as he sifted through them, his artist's fingers gentle on the edges. "Jesus, Ben. This is systematic. Like they photoshopped your soul out." "Worse," Benjamin said, voice low. "It's denial. Dad's still at the mill, preaching family values to the union guys. Mom bakes for the church bake sale, smiles like nothing's broken. Eliza sends postcards from her perfect life, but never calls." Jacob's jaw tightened, a muscle ticking. He'd met them once, that disastrous Christmas 2 years back. Awkward dinner where his father grilled Jacob on intentions, as if love were a business merger. And this, Jacob held up the pride photo, their faces alight with defiance. "This is the album they fear." Benjamin nodded, throat constricting. "I want to show it. All of it. Post online. Go viral. Make them see." Jacob's eyes searched his, weighing the cost. "You sure? This town's got long arms. Backlash could touch us all." "I'm tired of hiding, Jake. Of being the ghost in their gallery." The cab swung over the Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan's skyline shrinking in the mirror, the East River churning gray below. Jacob squeezed his hand. "Then we do it together. But first, pasta. And wine. And you, in my bed." Their apartment was a 3rd-floor walk-up in Williamsburg, the kind of place where exposed brick hid water stains and dreams hid in the rent. Jacob kicked the door shut, tossing keys on the Formica counter cluttered with takeout menus and half-finished canvases. "Shower," he ordered, playful but firm, steering Benjamin toward the bathroom. "You smell like heartbreak and truck stops." The steam rose hot, fogging the mirror as Benjamin stripped, the water scalding away the road grime. Jacob joined him minutes later, Soap-slick hands mapping familiar paths, shoulders knotted from tension, the dip of his spine, the curve of hip. They didn't speak. Words unnecessary in the press of bodies, the slide of skin. Jacob's mouth found the scar on Benjamin's collarbone, a faint line from a childhood bike crash, kissing it like absolution. "You're here," he whispered against wet flesh. "With me." Later, wrapped in threadbare towels, they ate fettuccine carbonara at the rickety table, candlelight flickering off wine glasses. Jacob sketched idly on a napkin Benjamin's profile, ice-shadowed but fierce. "Tell me the rest," he said, twirling pasta. "The hook that dragged you back." Benjamin sipped Merlot, the tartness grounding him. "A letter. From Dad's lawyer. He's sick, prostate cancer. Stage 3. Wants to set things right before. You know." He set the glass down, fingers tracing the stem. "But the shoebox? That was the gut punch. They kept everything but me." Jacob reached across, covering his hand. "And Eliza? She knows. She's the enabler. Married to that prick banker. 2 kids already. Last I heard, she's on the PDA, fighting for traditional values curriculum. Bet she helped with the edits." Silence fell, heavy as the rain pattering the fire escape. Jacob's pencil scratched to a halt. "We could go back. Confront them. As a family, ours." Benjamin's laugh was sharp. Edge. "Ours? You mean the queers they pray away?" "I mean us. Solid. Unbreakable." The conviction in Jacob's voice cracked something in Benjamin's chest. A fissure letting light in. They cleared plates, migrated to the sagging couch, Netflix flickering forgotten rom-coms. Curled together, Jacob's head on Benjamin's lap, fingers combing through dark waves. The city hummed outside, a lullaby of sirens and subway rumbles. Sleep came easier that night, Jacob's snores a steady rhythm against Benjamin's side. But dawn brought the itch, the plan solidifying like wet ink. Over coffee, black and steaming, Benjamin pulled out his laptop. "Let's do it." The thread. Photos. Story. The works. Tag the local paper. The church Facebook. Make it national if it bites. Jacob leaned over his shoulder, breath warm on neck. Title. Benjamin typed, fingers flying. He was left out of every family photo, until he showed the world the real album they hid. "Damn," Jacob whistled. "That's a hook." They uploaded in batches, the erased ones first, stark in their absence, captioned with dates and contexts. Thanksgiving 2010. The meal I cooked. The family I lost. Then there's pride shots. Rooftop kisses blurred by city haze. Jacob's sketches of them intertwined. Hashtags. Erased no more queer family small town truth. By lunch, the thread had 50 likes, a handful of shares. Benjamin's phone buzzed, unknown Ohio number. He answered, heart slamming. "Ben, it's Eliza." "What the hell are you doing?" Her voice, shrill through static, carried the weight of betrayal. "Posting our lives? Dad's in the hospital, and you're airing dirty laundry." "It's my laundry too," he shot back, pulse thundering. "You erased me, Liz. All of you." A pause, then a sob reel, ragged. "It's not that simple. Come home. Please. Before it destroys us." Jacob's hand on his knee steadied him. "I'll think about it," Benjamin said, hanging up before the tears could fall. The thread exploded that afternoon, reposts from queer influencers, comments flooding. "This is gut-wrenching. Your courage is everything." A local reporter DM'd, "Interview." But woven in were the barbs. "Attention whore. Pervert ruining family." Benjamin slammed the laptop shut, pacing the loft's exposed beams. "What if I just made it worse?" Jacob caught his arm, pulling him close. "You made it real. That's the point." They walked the bridge that evening. Rain-slicked planks underfoot. Manhattan's lights a defiant glow. Jacob stopped midway, turning Benjamin to face the skyline. "Remember our first fight? You said I deserved better than a starving actor with baggage." Benjamin huffed a laugh. "You said bullshit. We're both baggage. Beautiful, battered baggage." Jacob kissed him then, fierce and claiming, the wind whipping coats like flags of surrender. Below, the river whispered secrets, carrying fragments of what was to what could be. Back home, notifications pinged like gunfire. Shares hit thousands. A GoFundMe popped up unbidden. "Support Ben's truth." But at 2 a.m., the call came, his mother, voice breaking. "Dad's asking for you. The whole town's talking. Come, Ben. Fix this. Fix this." As if love were a faucet, twisted off and on. Benjamin stared at the ceiling cracks, Jacob's arm heavy across his waist. Dawn crept in, gray and unforgiving, and he knew the Real story was just beginning. The backlash hit like a Midwest squall, sudden, unrelenting. By morning, the Harlan name trended in Ohio feeds, the church's pastor live-streaming a sermon on prodigal sons and modern Sodom. Comments twisted the knife. "Pray for Benjamin's soul. He's shaming his dying father for likes." Benjamin scrolled in bed, Jacob still asleep beside him, the glow casting harsh shadows. His inbox overflowed. Support from strangers. "You're brave. Kid." Hate from kin. "Delete it. Fag." Eliza texted, "Family meeting. Tomorrow. Hospital. Don't make me beg." He dressed quiet, slipping out for a run along the waterfront, the Williamsburg Bridge looming like a steel scar. Legs pumping, lungs burning, he replayed the shoebox, the voids where his face should be. Sweat mixed with drizzle, blurring the city into abstraction. Back home, Jacob was at the stove, eggs sizzling, coffee brewing. Rough scroll. Worst. Benjamin collapsed at the table, head in hands. "They hate me more now." Jacob slid a plate over, sunny side up like hope. "Or they're scared. Truth's a mirror. They don't like the reflection." They ate in companionable silence, forks scraping china. Then Jacob's phone buzzed, a gallery rep, interested in his queer portrait series. "Inspired by you," he said, grinning. "Our story's art now." Benjamin's laugh bubbled up, unexpected. Twisted. Afternoon plan, gallery crawl. Clear your head. Williamsburg streets buzzed with hipsters and haunts, graffiti walls shouting rebellion. They ducked into Bushwick galleries, Jacob critiquing abstracts with sharp wit, Benjamin leaning into the normalcy. One exhibit stopped them cold. Erased histories, collages of redacted queer lives, scissors marks like wounds. The artist, a wiry dyke with blue hair, nodded at Benjamin. "Saw your thread. This one's for you." Tears pricked as they wandered out, hand in hand, the city a canvas reclaiming them. But evening brought the pull, Ohio calling like a siren's wail. "I have to go." Benjamin said over falafel at a corner spot, tahini dripping like unspoken fears. Alone. This is my mess. Jacob's fork paused midair, eyes darkening. Bullshit. We're in it. You're my future, Jake. They're the past I bury. The argument simmered low, words like embers. Jacob's voice rose, rare and raw. Burying means running. I won't watch you disappear again. They parted tense. Benjamin packing for the red-eye bus. Jacob sketching furiously at the table. Their faces, intertwined, unerasable. At Port Authority, the Greyhound idled like a beast, exhaust fumes choking the air. Benjamin boarded last, window seat by the emergency exit, the engine's rumble vibrating regret. The ride south was purgatory, hours of dark highways, pit stops at fluorescent hells. He dozed fitful, dreaming of albums aflame, Jacob's hand slipping from his. Dawn broke over Rust Belt relics, Cleveland's factory skeletal against pink sky. By noon, he was in Willow Creek, the hospital a squat brick bunker on the edge of town. Eliza waited in the lobby, toddler on hip, her husband Mark looming like a storm cloud, broad-shouldered, crew-cut, the epitome of real American. Ben, she said, voice brittle, hugging awkward around the child. Thanks for coming, Mark grunted, eyes hard. This you're doing? The circus online. Benjamin met his glare. My truth. Deal. The elevator hummed upward, tension thick as antiseptic. Dad's room was dim, monitors beeping a dirge. Richard Harlan lay pale against pillows, tubes snaking like accusations, his once broad frame shrunken. Faded blue, opened at the footsteps. Son, the word hung, fragile. Benjamin approached, chair scraping linoleum. Dad, Eliza hovered, Mark silent sentinel. Richard's hand, veined and trembling, reached out. Saw the pictures. All of them. Benjamin braced, the air electric. And, cough racked him, wet and final. Hurts. Knowing I did that to you. Tears welled, unbidden. Why? Fear. Ben. Of losing the life I built. Church, town they expect. He trailed off, gaze drifting to the window, cornfields endless. But you're my boy. Always were. The confession cracked the dam. Sobs from Eliza, Benjamin's throat raw. Mark shifted, uncomfortable, but silent. They talked then, halting, apologies whispered, hurts exhumed. Forgive, Richard rasped. Not yet, Benjamin said, honest. But I'm here, outside. Rain lashed the parking lot, Eliza pulling him aside. Stay for dinner? Mom's cooking. He nodded, the weight lifting fractional. But as he drove to the house, phone in hand, a new notification glowed. Jacob's post, a sketch of them on the bridge. Caption, my album's always got room for you. Come home. Heart swelling, Benjamin replied, soon. Love you. Little did he know, home was about to fracture anew. The Harlan kitchen table groaned under pot roast and mashed potatoes, steam curling like ghosts from the heartland past. Margaret bustled, plates clinking, her smile tentative, a tightrope walk over the chasm of years. Richard had been discharged, propped in his recliner with oxygen hissing soft, the family orbiting him like planets afraid of collision. Benjamin sat at the end, The shoebox opened between them. Photos fanned like a poker hand no one wanted to play. "This one's from your 8th birthday," Margaret said, voice quavering as she slid a faded print forward. Benjamin, gap-toothed grin, cake smeared on cheek, but now joined by Jacob in memory, though the image predated him. "You begged for that bike. Rode it till the wheels fell off." Benjamin traced the edge. The boy's joy echoed distant. "Remember when you said I'd go to hell for liking boys' comics?" She flinched, fork pausing midair. Eliza shot her a look. The toddler little Emma, babbling oblivious in high chair. Mark cleared his throat, beefy hands folding. "Water under the bridge. Ben. Your dad's fighting. Let's not dredge." "Dredge?" Benjamin's laugh was knife-edged. "You mean bury deeper?" Richard's voice cut through, frail but firm. "Enough, Mark. Ben's right. We buried him alive." The room stilled, silverware silent. Margaret's eyes glistened, napkin twisting. "We thought prayer would fix it." "The pastor said." "Pastor said a lot," Richard interrupted. "We's punctuating." "I listened. Lost my son for it." Confession hung heavy, the roast cooling untouched. Eliza reached for Benjamin's hand, squeezed tentative. "I helped, Ben. The photos. Thought it protected the kids." "From what? Love?" His voice cracked, hazel eyes storming. Emma cooed, offering a mashed potato hand, innocence a bomb. They ate then, halting, stories trickling like rain through eaves. Richard on the mill's heyday, union fights won with fists and faith. Margaret on quilt circles where gossip wove tighter than thread. Benjamin shared snippets, New York editions, Jacob's gallery dreams, testing waters, finding them warmer than expected. Night fell soft, fireflies winking in the yard like hesitant stars. Benjamin stepped onto the porch, rocking chair creaking under weight, the creek murmuring beyond. His phone glowed, Jacob's texts. "How's the truce? Miss your face." A voice note followed, his drawl rapping husky. "Drew us as cowboys tonight. You ridin' shotgun. Hurry back, partner." Smile tugged, unbidden. But footsteps sounded, Eliza joining, shawl draped against chill. "He's good for you," she said, nodding at the phone. Jacob saw the sketch. "Talented." "Yeah." Benjamin pocketed it. "Scary talented. Makes me want to be better." She leaned on rail, silhouette silvered by moon. "I envied that, you know. Your courage. Leaving. I stayed, married safe. But Mark, he's trying. After your post, he said, maybe we judged wrong." High praise from the king of conformity. Eliza chuckled, soft. "Give it time. Like Dad." Sleep claimed him in the guest room. Twin bed narrow as memory lane. Walls papered in faded florals. Dreams wove tangled. Pride parades crashing family barbecues. Jacob toasting marshmallows over hellfire. Morning brought coffee and crisis. The local paper's front page. Harlan Air outs family hypocrisy in viral expose. Quotes twisted. Headlines screaming scandal. Richard scanned it from his chair, face ashen. Pastor called. Says I'm a disgrace. Lost 3 buddies at the mill already. Benjamin's gut twisted. We can pull the thread down. No. Richard's eyes, fierce despite frailty. Let it stand. Maybe it'll wake someone. But the town stirred venomous. Tires slashed on Benjamin's rental car. Anonymous calls hissing slurs. Margaret answered one. Voice steel. That's my son. Hang up or I'll pray for your soul. Eliza fielded school whispers. Emma home with fairy stories taunts. By noon, the dam broke. Mark stormed in from work. Paper crumpled in fist. This your idea of healing? Banks getting hate mail. Clients bailing. Benjamin stood. Chin lifted. Collateral. Sucks. But truth costs. Truth. Mark's face reddened. Vein throbbing. You're a phase. Ben. Always were. Dragging us through mud for your boyfriend's spotlight. The word landed like a slap. Richard barked from the living room. Mark. Out. But damage bloomed. Eliza teared up. He didn't mean. Did. Benjamin grabbed keys. I'm not a phase. And Jacob's not a spotlight. He's my life. He fled to the creek. Boots squelching mud. Water rushing indifferent. Sat on the tire swing. Ropes frayed. Pushing off gentle. Phone buzzed, Jacob video call. His face filled screen. Tousled from sleep. Brooklyn dawn behind. Hey, cowboy. Storm brewing. Worse. Tornado. Benjamin recounted. Voice fracturing. Mark's barb the deepest cut. Jacob's jaw set. Fire in eyes. Come home. Now. They don't deserve you. But Dad deserves peace. Not your soul. Fly out. I'll meet you. Temptation gnawed. But roots clung. One more day. Try. Jacob nodded. Reluctant. Love you. Unconditionally. The call ended. But echo lingered. Evening brought uneasy truce. Dinner subdued. Mark absent. Apologies airmailed via Eliza. Richard pulled Benjamin aside. Hand on shoulder, frail but sure. Proud of you, son. For fighting. Like I should've. Tears stung. Love you, Dad. Even the broken parts. Night deepened. House settling sighs. Benjamin lay awake. Ceiling fan whirring. Plotting escape. Dawn would bring airport run. Jacob's arms waiting. But at 3 a.m., pounding fists on door, sheriff. Lights flashing blue-red. Ben Harlan? Need you at the station. Your sister's husband. Incident. Heart plummeted. Mark. Bloodied lip. Cuffed in interrogation. Eyes wild. Heard you trashed us. Came to talk. Things escalated. Eliza sobbed in waiting room. Emma asleep on shoulder. He drank. Said sorry after. Benjamin's world tilted. Rage and pity warring. Let him go. Family, right? Sheriff nodded. Cuffs clicking free. Mark slunk out. Mumbling. Won't happen again. But trust shattered like the vase years back. Benjamin drove Eliza home. Silence screaming. He's scared, she whispered. Of losing the image. Image over us all, Benjamin replied. Weary. Morning flight loomed, but guilt anchored. Text to Jacob, delaying. Mess here. Reply instant. Handle it. But I'm booking anyway. The day unraveled. Pastor visit. Bible-thumping veiled threats. Mill workers picketing the house. Signs Harlan shame. Online horde swelling. Doxing attempts pinging. Benjamin manned the ramparts. Tweeting updates, truth hurts. But silence kills. Retweets surged. Celebrities chiming, Ellen retweet, "This is why we fight." Evening. Family council in living room. Richard presiding, frail. "We end this." Public. Apology video. Together. Hesitation rippled. Margaret nodded first. Eliza second. Benjamin? If it's real. It was cameras rolling on phones. Richard center. "My son Benjamin showed us our blindness. We erased him for fear. No more. He's loved. As is." Upload hit viral. Comments shifting, redemption arc. Human. But undercurrent churned. Mark's shadow long. Night fell. Benjamin packing quiet. Eliza hugged fierce at door. "Come back. For real. Will." Promise sealed. Airport run. Dawn breaking gold. Ford humming highway. Phone silent. Jacob's last text. Waiting. Always. But as Cleveland Tower rose, a call pierced. Unknown. "Ben? Pastor here. Your father's gone. Heart. Come quick." World ended in static. The hospital chapel smelled of wax and wilted lilies. Pews hard under Benjamin's weight. The stained glass Jesus gazing down with painted pity. Richard Harlan lay in the next room. Sheet draped. The monitors silenced forever. Benjamin sat alone. Eliza en route with the kids. Margaret sedated upstairs. Shock's cruel mercy. The pastor's call had rerouted him mid-taxi. Jacob's texts piling unanswered. Plane lands in 2 hours. "Where are you?" Grief hit like a freight train. Derailing thought. One day, one of fragile mending. And gone. The apology video looped in Benjamin's mind. Richard's voice cracking on loved. A final exhale. Was it enough? Or just pretty words for a dying man's ledger? Footsteps echoed. Jacob. Breathless. Coat dusted with runway snow. Eyes scanning frantic until landing on him. "Ben." He slid into the pew. Arm enveloping. Pulling close. "I'm here." Benjamin crumpled. Sobs muffled in wool. "He's gone. Jake." "We fixed nothing." Jacob rocked him gentle. Hands stroking hair. "You showed up. That's everything." They sat thus. Time elastic. Until Eliza burst in. Emma wailing on hip. Mark trailing sheepish. Hugs exchanged wordless. Tears communal. Margaret joined later. Hollow-eyed. Clinging to Benjamin like driftwood. "He waited for you," she whispered. Said his piece. Funeral blurred. Willow Creek Baptist. Pews packed with mill ghosts and quilt ladies. Whispers like wasps. Richard's casket. Polished. Bore a single photo. The family portrait. Voids filled now with a digital print of Benjamin and Jacob at Pride. Slipped in by sly hands. Gasps rippled as lid closed. The pastor faltering mid-eulogy. Richard Harlan. Sought reconciliation in his final hours. Graveside. Under gray November sky. Dirt clods thudding hollow. Benjamin tossed a rose. Red. Defiant. Jacob stood sentinel. Fingers laced tight. Back home. Wake in full swing. Casserole steaming. Bourbon flowing covert. Mark cornered Benjamin by the punch bowl. Voice low. "Your dad's passing. It's on you." Stress killed him. Fury ignited. White hot. Bullshit. Secrets did. Yours included. Mark's fist clenched. But Eliza intervened, pulling him away. "Not now." Jacob, sensing storm, drew Benjamin to the porch. Rocking chair duet. He's poison. Leave it. Can't. This is home. A tone wavered. New York's pull magnetic. Night deepened. Guests thinning. House echoing empty. Upstairs, Benjamin and Jacob shared the guest bed. Bodies aligning instinctive, seeking solace in touch. Jacob's lips trailed neck, hands mapping loss. "Let me love you," he murmured, unbuttoning slow. Skin met skin, breaths sinking, the act a reclamation, tender, urgent, tears salting sweat. Afterward, tangled, Jacob whispered, "Marry me. Here. Now. Make this real." Benjamin stilled, heart hammering. "What?" "Kneel tomorrow. Courthouse. Your family watches." Eyes earnest, ringless hand offered like vow. Temptation bloomed, wild. They'd riot. Let them. We rise. Dawn brought decision, yes, whispered fierce. They drove to county clerk. Off hours quiet. Eliza and Margaret trailing reluctant. Mark refused. Ain't right. But the women came. Witnesses somber. Vows exchanged over Formica counter. Justice of peace droning. In sickness. Health. Rings. Jacob's sketchpad doodle. Signed forever. Kiss sealed. Soft thunder. Eliza teared. Hugging tight. Beautiful. Margaret nodded. Fractured smile. For your father. News leaked. Local stringer at the clerk's. Tweet firing. Harlan's son weds gay lover hours after dad's burial. Inferno reignited. Phones exploding. Backlash biblical. Church excommunication. Mill boycott calls. Death threats pinging. But counterwave crested. National outlets. CNN segment. From erasure to embrace. A queer homecoming. Jacob's gallery buzzed. Exhibit greenlit. Unhidden albums. Their photos centerpiece. Benjamin's agent called. Audiobook deal for his thread-turned memoir. Raw. Real. American as apple pie and rainbows. But paradise cracked. Evening. Post-wedding dinner subdued. Margaret's meatloaf. Emma finger-painting ketchup. Mark shattered door. Bourbon reek. Whoring it up while Dick's cold. Traitors. Fists flew. Mark lunging. Benjamin dodging. Jacob tackling. Scuffle spilled porch. Grunts and curses. Eliza screaming. Stop! Sheriff arrived. Lights wailing. Hauling Mark to cooler. Bruises bloomed. Jacob's rib cracked. Benjamin's lip split. Hospital again. Irony bitter. Stitched under fluorescence. Jacob grinned through painkillers. Worst honeymoon ever. Benjamin laughed. Wincing. Best proposal. Eliza visited. Shamefaced. He's gone for good. Divorce papers tomorrow. Pause. Eyes searching. You too. Your family now. Healing threaded slow. Weeks in Willow Creek. Jacob sketching fields. Benjamin reading to Emma. Stories of nights loving nights. Margaret softened. Albums rebuilt. New photos. Them included. Pride print framed mantle. Online storm ebbed. Supporters donating to queer youth funds in Richard's name. But betrayal lurked. One night, laptop open. Benjamin found it. Email from Eliza's account. Unintended forward. Mark's texts to pastor. Plotting intervention post-wedding. Custody snatch for moral safety. Heart iced. She knew. Jacob. Over shoulder. Cursed low. Confront. Dawn confrontation. Kitchen tense. Eliza paled at printout. He swore it'd stop after the fight. You chose sides. Benjamin's voice steel. Again, tears streamed. I chose peace. Failed. Margaret entered, sensing rift. What's this? Truth spilled. Raw. Sobs communal. Eliza fleeing to car. Emma in arms. I'll fight for her, she vowed at door. And you. Door shut. Final. Benjamin and Jacob packed. Ford loaded. New York calling. Margaret hugged fierce, whispering, Go build. Visit Sundays. Highway north. Appalachians folding behind. Radio crooning wagon wheel. Jacob's hand on thigh. Steady. Chapter closed. New album, Benjamin said. Smiling true. Ours. But Miles unwound doubt. Phone buzz. Eliza, Mark took Emma. Says you're poison. Help. U-turn. Heart sinking. Battle joined anew. The drive back was fury-fueled. Tires chewing asphalt. Jacob navigating maps on phone. Willow Creek loomed accusatory. Lights pricking dusk. Eliza's house. Modest rancher. Swing set idle dark but for porch bulb. She answered frantic. Hair wild. Eyes red. He packed her up. Said, protecting from perversion. Gone to his brother's in Dayton. Benjamin's blood boiled. Cops. Family matter. She scoffed. Bitter. Sheriff's his golf buddy. Jacob paced. Practical. Road trip. Now. They piled in. Ford groaning under 3. Coffee thermos and Emma's stuffed bear. Interstate black. Stars indifferent overhead. Eliza recounted. Mark's rages escalating post-video. Whispers of straighten out the kids. I blinded myself, she admitted. Voice small. For the picture. Like they did me, Benjamin said. Gentle. Break the frame. Dayton sprawled industrial. Brother Tom's place a double wide off the highway. Pickup rusted yard. Dawn raid pounding door. Mark bleary. Emma asleep his arms. What they? Give her, Benjamin demanded. Jacob flanking solid. Over my dead, Mark snarled. But Eliza stepped forward. Steel newfound. She's mine too. Papers served. Leave. Standoff electric. Tom looming shotgun-handed but silent. Emma stirred. Wailing. Tipping scales. Mark relented. Thrusting her over. Defeated. You're ruining us all. We're saving her, Eliza replied. Cradling close. Drive home victorious. Emma cooing back seat. Dawn painting gold. Eliza turned. Eyes clear. Thank you. Both. Back in Willow Creek. Custody hearing swift. Mark's threats documented. Eliza's resolve iron. Gavel fell favorable. Supervised visits only. Celebration quiet. Margaret's pie. Jacob's sketches of Emma as fairy queen. But ripples spread. National story pivoted. From family feud to queer kin. Harlan's rewrite rules. Interviews poured. Oprah producer. Podcast deals. Benjamin and Jacob fielded from Brooklyn. Loft now there's official. Ring fingers etched simple bands. Wedding redo planned. Pride weekend. Rooftop with city witness. Invite sent. Margaret yes. Eliza tentative. Emma flower girl. Mark, silence. A ghost fading. Yet scars lingered. Nightmares of erasures. Jacob waking sweat slick. We're enough, Benjamin murmured. Post-love haze. Jacob kissed brow. More than. Summer bloomed. Exhibit opening. Unhidden. Crowds thrumming gallery. Flashes popping their portraits. Benjamin's memoir deal signed. Title Echo. The album they hid. Life wove forward. Threads mending. But autumn whispered test. Margaret's call. Sick. Like your dad. Come. Return loomed. Cycle or closure. Benjamin booked tickets. Jacob beside. Together. Yes, he breathed. Always. Autumn leaves carpeted Willow Creek like confetti from a bittersweet parade. Maples aflame against the creek's murmur. Benjamin and Jacob arrived at dusk. Ford crunching gravel. The house porch light a beacon frail. Margaret waited in the rocker. Shawl wrapped. Chemo's toll etching her face hollow. Cheeks gaunt. Hair a whisper under scarf. Boys, she greeted. Voice thin but warm. Rising slow for hugs that lingered. Eliza joined from kitchen. Emma tugging skirt. For now and fierce dark curls like Benjamin's. Eyes curious. Uncle Ben. Uncle Jake. She launched. Jacob catching whirl. Spinning till giggles peeled. Dinner simple, soup steaming. Cornbread crumbly. Talk skirting edges. Margaret's treatments at Cleveland Clinic. Eliza's new job at the library. Pushing diverse reads. Thanks to you. Laughter threaded. Tentative. Over Emma's tales of kindergarten dragons. Later. Bedside vigil. Margaret's hand in Benjamin's. Papery. The album, she said. Nodding nightstand. Leather-bound. New. Pages thick with prints. Richard's last smile. Wedding vows scribbled. Emma's finger paints alongside pride flags. No voids now. Benjamin thumbed it. Throat tight. You kept going. Learned from you. Her eyes. Hazel faded. Held steady. Forgive an old fool? Already did. Kiss to forehead. Salt sting. Jacob lingered door. Sketching subtle. Family tableau. Light slanting holy. Nights blurred, hospital runs. Chemo suites sterile. Margaret stoic through nausea. Eliza reading aloud from Benjamin's advance copy. The album they hid. Pages turning like prayers. Backlash echoes faint now. Church softened. New pastor queer ally. Mill whispers turn tales of Harlan pride. Mark, distant. Visits stilted. Emma's questions met gruff. Daddy's learning. Progress. Glacial. One evening. Creekside. Bonfire crackling. Family ringed. Margaret bundled. Emma roasting marshmallows gooey. Jacob pulled Benjamin aside. Water lapping boots. This place. It fits us now. Yeah. Benjamin leaned head on shoulder. Firelight dancing. Scars and all. Proposals echo thrummed. Vows renewed in mind. Rings glinting. Memoir launch loomed. New York buzz. But here, roots deepened. Exhibit toured. Unhidden Midwest stop. Gallery packed locals. Some hecklers. Most moved. Tears tracing faces as portraits spoke. Margaret rallied brief. Discharge home. Strength flickering. Live loud, she urged. Voice raspy. For me, they did Thanksgiving rebuilt. Table groaning no erasures. Jacob carving turkey deft. Eliza toasting to albums rewritten. Laughter free. Emma's prayer. God bless uncles and rainbows. Winter bit. Snow mantling fields white. Jacob's rib healed. But deeper mends. Therapy sessions virtual. Benjamin unpacking closets literal and not. Eliza joining. Mark tentative zoom. Sorry, he grunted once, eyes down. Was wrong. Steps, not leaps. Margaret's decline swift, pneumonia opportunistic, lungs betraying. Hospice bed in living room, window creek view, family rotating watches. Benjamin read chapters aloud. Her favorites, Pride Triumph, Jacob Steadfast. Beautiful, she murmured, hands squeezing. Final night, stars pricking velvet. She gathered them. Richard's ring on thumb, Eliza's locket, Benjamin's band, Jacob's sketch. My real album, breath rattled, then stilled, moon silvering peace. Grief communal, raw funeral smaller, intimate, Baptist doors open, hymns hybrid gospel queer. Graveside, adjacent Richards, dirt soft, Eliza's eulogy fierce. She saw us. All, wake after, house alive stories, Margaret's pies winning blues, secret cigs with Richard porch. Jacob sketched mourners candid, album growing. Weeks on, Brooklyn called, launch party loft packed, publishers toasting, fans queuing signings. Benjamin spoke, voice steady, this isn't victory. It's visibility. For the left out, Jacob beside, arm looped proud, ring catching light. Media swirled NYT profile, Pod Save America spot, funds flowing youth centers Ohio. Spring bloomed, visit Willow Creek, Eliza thriving, Emma school play night, Rainbow Cape fluttering. House there's now, inherited, weekend's refuge, fire escape replaced porch swing, canvases lining walls. One dusk, album open kitchen table, pages chronicled, erasures crossed, additions vivid wedding redo rooftop, pride floats, Emma's birth, Margaret's last smile. Benjamin traced Jacob's latest, them aged, porch rockers, creek eternal. Future, Jacob said, chin on shoulder. Our best chapter, night fell, bodies entwining bed, love language fluent, whispers, touches, promises etched skin. Dawn, coffee brewing, phone pinged, offer, Ohio Arts Grant, Queer Center founding. Stay, Jacob teased. Build, Benjamin replied. Here and there, life mosaicked, New York hustle, Willow roots, travels blending, gallery hops Chicago, Eliza wedding small to library colleague, soft-spoken, Emma flower girl redux. Years threaded, albums multiplying, digital now, shared drives family-wide. Benjamin's stage call, off-Broadway queer drama, Jacob directing sets. Mark softened full, Emma's coach, sideline cheers inclusive. Decade mark, Creek bonfire annual, flames high, stories circling, from shoebox voids to full shelves. Benjamin raised glass, voice thick, to the real us. Unhid, cheers echoed, Jacob's kiss ceiling, Emma's laughter starbright. Fade to now, autumn again, leaves falling gentle, Benjamin and Jacob porch, swing creaking tandem. Album digital, but tangible too, leather worn. Worth it, Jacob asks, hand lacing. Every scar, Benjamin turns, eyes locking hazel to whiskey, fire undimmed. Every frame, they kiss slow, world fading creek song, wind whisper, love indelible. The album, once hidden, now legend, proof that even erased, one can rewrite the light.